Okay.
What one?
Welcome everyone to our Tuesday discussion, this time online, but I have to say, when I look out of the window, I'm quite pleased that we didn't do it in person today because the weather was quite, or is still quite nasty and windy. So last week we looked into waste management in our Tuesday discussion session with Lassie, and especially plastic waste management in Southeast Asia. And today we will be hearing about waste as well, but from a very different and very artful angle, so to say, namely about waste coming from the clothing industry. And our guest today is Dorothea Seror. Dorothea calls herself a multidisciplinary artist. She's located at the Kreativquartier in Munich, which is just south of the Olympic Park. And she makes beautiful art out of stuff that is thrown away by basically all of us. And that's mainly clothing. And in her current project, she weaves objects from used clothes. And she's very concerned about the fact that only 1% of used clothing is actually being recycled by the industry. This is why she decided to teach simple techniques to all of us to produce new items and even art objects from old clothing. When I read Dorothea's CV, I was really fascinated because she grew up in Munich and Obermenzing, and after school she went traveling for several months until she arrived in Haifa, Israel, which she liked so much that she stayed to open a grocery store there.
Long time ago,
but it happened.
Yeah.
And after she returned to Germany, she had 3 kids, and she went back to school to study art history and English and Jewish studies at LMU. And she also studied painting and graphic arts at the Academy of Fine Arts in Munich. And she has always worked as an artist and traveled the world for this, spent much time in Africa, and also started dancing in various ensembles. She also directs dance productions with people with disabilities. And for that, she received the award of the city of Munich in 2012. Today, Dorothea Seror will share some of her artwork with us and will tell us about her approach of making use of trash to create art. And she has recently started the project, The Joy of Weaving, that any one of us can actually join. It's an ongoing project that collects worn clothes to transform them into art, and we're all invited to join. So, but this is it for now, and I'm really happy that we could win you to our Tuesday discussion this semester, and everyone, please join me in welcoming Dorothea Seror.
Hi. So I'm really happy to be here and to show you a bit the procedure and also where I come from. I chose a lot of pictures to show you that you will not see just the textile. I didn't know that the focus is so strong on textile because this is really what I do the last 3 years about. But I'm always already quite a long time very occupied with reusing trash, and it didn't start so environmental. It started more like I had a lack of storage. So I studied painting and I painted a lot of pictures. So where do you put them? You have to pay rent for storage and so on. So I thought, why not to make them over and over again? Many people, like from the art historian side, they tell me, oh, don't do this. It's, it's your work and one day will be very expensive. But I really think that also art pieces have to have a life. And the life and the energy is just in an art piece and also in an object if you use it. Otherwise, you should really think of reusing it or making something else out of it, because if you just stuff the landfills all over the world, they are not useful. So I think we start with some pictures. I hope I think I can, you just tell me if something goes wrong, please. We did it this way. Let's see. So here you see, of course, plastic garbage. And I used to go around in forests or parks and collect plastic garbage, also together with people, and then we wash them. And to show you what you can do out of it, I show you I think you're all too young, even if you're from Munich. You might have seen this thing. It was on the Tollwood Winter Festival. You know this all, some of you for sure. And I asked people of Munich to collect their plastic garbage, not to throw it. And even if they want to, they can collect it and do some pattern with the colors of the plastic in the bags. If you see on the yellow side, I sew 121 yellow bags. And the construction, which you can see here, is old scaffold material. Of course, there are also some material parts which had to be made out of scaffold iron. So people brought bags full with garbage. And this is a collection place where also students were helping me to collect and to sort the garbage. And this is the final product, 8 meter high and 450 wide on the base. Yeah, and you see, this is how garbage can look very nice. And my goal is to transform garbage which you can't reuse in another industrial way or as clothes or reusing, making bottles, to find them a place in the museum and to transform them before. So here, for example, I was opening one bag to demonstrate to people how much garbage is in one of the bags, you know, and that's where 121. So this was the beauty of the garbage tree. And I also continue this, and the material, for example, on the left, you see old truck tire. I repaired it, and then I was sewing some like cover for it. And finally, we were stuffing everything with garbage, and that was the final result. It was on the small lake where Goethe used to write his poems near Darmstadt. So and it stayed there for a month until a storm came. So this art pieces I still have. So if somebody wants to make an exhibition in a museum, this garbage ends in a museum. And the scaffold you see here, it was a bit made like from the image of the porte-bouteille of Marcel Duchamp. Do you know this artwork? Any feedback? The people, they can't talk, can you? I can't hear the students talking, no?
If they unmute themselves, you can hear them, yes.
Okay.
So if anyone knows, then please unmute you. And
if somebody knows the porte-bouteille of Marcel Duchamp, it's ready-made by Marcel Duchamp, an artist from the 1920s. He put a bottle dryer for wine bottles in the museum, and he declared it as art. And it looked like this, and I enlarged it to 8 meters. So what to do with all this metal afterwards? So I invented a work where people can construct their own pieces of art with the material. So this is also a nice educational thing for teams, because you can't do it alone. One has to hold, and you see, so it's a teamwork. And at the end, something like this comes out, and it's the material which I used before for the big trash tree. So other works where I'm invited, for example, he was invited to a gallery, and I didn't take anything with me. I collected trash on the streets, and I asked also people to bring whatever they find. It's quite disgusting sometimes. Even with clothes, I'm sometimes getting things that really smell sweaty, but I got used to it. And it's much more satisfying at the end to have an art product in your hand and it looks clean and nice. And the transformation from this really dirty stuff to an art piece is a big relief for me always. And here in this case, I didn't clean it with water. I used wax. I went to a church, I asked for old candles, and I glued a ball together with this. And it's also feeling that the things getting like disinfected. They get a new texture, they smell better, everything smelled like wax. And at the end I had a product with all this garbage, and the garbage is inside. I still have it, and my plan is one day to cut it into 2 halves with a laser. Or I walk on the streets and I really give the impression people don't know that it's art, and ask them for their garbage. I call alte Sachen. I think you know this. In earlier times, people were collecting like this garbage. And I was invited to an art center. People took a lot. And at the end, I installed it in the garden, the rest. So another piece is when we are coming to the more textile works now. My paintings from time of study or even earlier, I sold by square centimeters, so people could come and choose a piece which they like, and I cut it out, and you see, so the old paintings have holes, and we glued it on a nice canvas. I signed it, and they didn't have to pay a lot. Here, for example, you have 3 on 3 centimeters, so it was 10 cents. You can just calculate how much you have to pay for this art piece. And the same I did with some fusée from the 60s. I made a big ball and I use it for performances. So that's me making performance just recently last year for curator from China, where I couldn't go, but we made it online. So I still have the ball. Let's see where it goes. It might disappear in another work. So here we are already in the textile section. The mother of a friend of mine died, and the family gave me all her clothes. Nobody wanted them, so I constructed a work where people gave me to wear her clothes in another way. And I was sitting also, and it's in Israel, in Tel Aviv, in a bus center, where I closed myself just with a white material and started to weave carpet, and outside her clothes were, and people really came and took them. So I don't just transform it to art, I also try to bring it back to the society. And here, this is in Sweden, where I installed a whole landscape with things I found. And the visitors, they could like walk through the landscape and discover, and every places like textile things which I wove or just, arranged. And it stays there. And the curator, she's living close. She always sends me pictures from different times of the year. So like autumn or winter. And it is slowly dissolving into the nature. So I try also not to use, in this case, plastics, just textile, metal, or natural material. Last year, just short for the lockdown, was in February 20, I was invited to Chicago, where they gave me relics of performance of other artists. So these were 12 jogging trousers, which an artist used and left it behind, and this kind of strings. And I constructed a work with the leftovers of other artists. And I, of course, left mainly my work there again. So this was a room installation, which looked like this at the end, with some donations. And this is, for example, for me also important. I look at the watch. Oh, we have to, that the stories of, for example, in this case, there were 2 artists with a story and with a performance, which they already put into their work. So when I continue to work with this, it's inside. I can feel that it has another importance to me if there's already a story behind. So also when I get clothes from other people and I weave something out of it, I have the feeling it's more worth than just a piece of cloth. The textile, it's a story, it's a history. So I try to weave also the story in my art piece. And I have a project in the future where I will weave really stories with women which tell me those stories into the work. So last year, was it last year? I got a grant for like archiving my stuff, kind of. So I have a lot of boxes with relics of my performances. I don't collect like this stuff, which I see. I just collect garbage or trash when I have a project but I take the leftovers of my performances with me. So I open all the boxes and I sort them to colors and to, I try to figure out what can I do with it. And I will not stop recycling my own material until everything is in an art piece. So I don't want to add things from the outside. It's not like this. Sometimes after I talk about my work, the people say, oh, it's nice. Can we bring you this and that and that? Okay, this is not the whole idea about it. I'm not a transforming machine and you can get rid of your trash. You should think about how can I cope with my trash. I have a lot of stuff which I have to still to transform. And of course, if I have a certain project where I say, okay, I would like to have from all of you a t-shirt with a history, which is very valuable to you. So this, of course, then you give it to me, but I'm not taking just like that random trash. So this is my studio. You can even see it here. And transformation stations. So when I sorted the material, I mainly used the flexible and the two-dimensional material. And I did, this is called murales. It's a big mural, it's 6 meters on 250 with just material which I already used. I cut it into pieces and I put it together. Here you see the material and the walls. And here you see it's not a totally two-dimensional thing, it's like a relief. And it was just exhibited now in October in the Pinakothek der Moderne, where I had a corner. It was like my magical room. And I had prophecies to the people. They came and they had to bring also a use object of their own, which is valuable to them. And I made some prophecies for them. So every piece which you see here, part of my own art or performances, even for my diploma work or whatsoever. So this was really like a whole winter gluing this stuff onto these walls. And this is pictures from my archive. So I photographed them when they were part of the work and after I used them. So at least I have the pictures. For example, here you have, it was with coffee and flour and whatsoever. So I photographed it and then just I proceed to work with it afterwards. So these are also material I used. This is funny because I wanted to show to you the result in real. These are 2 bags from an ex relationship I had. They were he gave it to me. I had this with years, my favorite bags. And finally I decided to get rid of it. Do you see just my pictures or can you see me too? Me too, so I can show it to you. So these are the bags. At the end, it's a painting, and I love it. There is a hesitation here as I cut it in parts. There's a huge hesitation in the beginning because you think it was useful, isn't it? Is it useful at the end? These are also paintings which good artist friends of mine, they donated. And one lady gave me the work of her father who died. So this work and this. And then I have a place where I sort everything, cut it into pieces. And at the end, I make new works out of it. These are also donations. And this is, for example, a result of different works of other artists. Or I use advertisements. This was a festival we organized, and this is the result. You see, it's you can see it. And these are works which I do recently a lot. These are clothes. I started, my father died, and I had an exhibition after. And I was sitting in the exhibition and was weaving his shirts to carpets. This was like several years ago. And so I started to weave t-shirts. And in this case, I wove just from his shirts carpets, which I exhibited in the gallery. And now I'm doing this, I call them Fibonacci because they are built on this Fibonacci, how you say this, is a system, number system.
The series.
So,
Sorry, it's called the Fibonacci series, but you can see it. It's really
it's like the sunflower, or so this is one result. I think it's the last. Oh yeah, this is not. This is the last picture. And we are also good in time, I think. So I would stop it. No, should I? Or you want to have it?
Perfect. I mean, if you have more pictures to show, you can, of course, lead us through them.
No, it's exactly what I prepared.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
What an hour.